For those of you I don't know, again, my name is Monique. I get asked about that sometimes. Last week I went in for an interview and the guy was looking at my application and he was like, I totally thought you were gonna be black. And I'm like, look, I'm just as disappointed as you are. Born in 97, does that make me a millennial? I think I'm a millennial. I show the symptoms.
You are.
You know? I'm socially liberal, I'm fiscally not doing great right now. I'm into astrology, which is weird because I didn't believe in that at all a few years ago, but I'm a spineless, people-pleasing Gemini, so I'm on board. I grew up in a really white town, white as a toilet, this town. You don't really know what the nuances of racism and race are. You just have a lot of questions. Like why can't the teachers pronounce my phonetically spelled last name? And why do the other kids not like the lunch? And why is my hair so much better than everyone else's? I dated this other guy who was really sweet. He learned how to say I love you in Tagalog, which is the Filipino language. I don't know if y'all can tell, Tagalog is not my native tongue. So he was like, hey babe, mahal kita. And I was like, oh, bless you.
And we're back.
Oh, nice towel throw.
Oh, thank you. I practiced it at least 6 times. Can't get the hair to lay just right though. But what is just right is our time with Monique. Monique, thank you so much for
welcome.
Tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We are so impressed by your set and just who you are. You have this liveliness to you that just infectious, if I'm being...
Please tell my mom that. That's so sweet.
Yeah. Yes, tell her.
Don't cry. We've just... So we really just wanted to kind of get to know, your roots. How did you make your way to where you are now?
So I got into comedy a couple years ago, basically when Netflix comedy specials started to become a thing. Yeah. I would just watch them and then I was just like, maybe I could do that. But it would take several months for me to work up the courage. And it took a really long, because I didn't really act or do improv or anything, before comedy. So I've never really been on a stage.
Oh,
but
wow.
So I really like hearing myself talk. So it's just this constant conflict. I spent several months writing jokes, and then I went to an open mic with my friends, my supportive friends, and I was too late to sign up for the open mic, but they still had bucket spots. So I put my name in for one of those, and the whole show went on, and they called out names from the bucket they were picking names out of, and I didn't get called the entire time. Oh. And then the show was about to end, and they were just like, all right, and now for our headliner. And then there's just a pause, and then they were like, Jim? And then they're like, oh, our headliner left. Are there any are there any comics in the room who still want to do a set? And my friend kind of just raised my hand for me. and so I did my set, and I read from a piece of paper. I had no stage presence. I just had my carefully crafted little jokes, and people laughed because I was this is my first time, and they were really supportive. And now my friends joke that when I started comedy, I was headlining. So
right.
Do you have any planned shows coming up? Anything, once all this craziness calms down?
The next show was actually going to be this month, and obviously it's canceled. But I don't know. I'm just kind of gonna see what happens. I usually just kind of I post clips every now and then I just beg to be on shows, and then people will let me. Yeah, I've been doing a thing on my Instagram, my story, where I just have kind of a cooking show. But it's just it's funny because I don't know how to cook. So it's just me, the first episode, I didn't plan for this to happen, but I set off the fire alarm trying to cook. So there's just a shot of me running, and then it's just all right, so I think we're just going to do 3 slices of bacon for this recipe instead of it. It was bone. I don't remember what it was, but it was it has a lot of eggs and cream in the sauce, but it ended up just being scrambled scrambled eggs and pasta. So like that's been like the kind of funny thing I've been doing through COVID, is just like letting people watch me cook. I guess it's time to learn life skills, read books, go on walks, eat a flower. Like that's what COVID's doing.
Do you feel like if you had, a book that was written about you someday and it got really big, what would the name be? What encapsulates Monique?
I feel like, if you're in your 20s, you really can't have a memoir about you unless you're like Malala. Like you need to have like gotten close to death to have like a book written about you at like, such an early point in your life.
Right.
Are you gonna call it like the footsteps of Monique? Tonique.
Oh man, actually, I don't know. People don't get to see my feet for free, so I don't know if I would do that. It would definitely just be me and my feet, but the feet are blurred out, and you have to like buy the book to get access. Is that what an OnlyFans is? I don't know.
I think it is. It is. You've been doing comedy for how long again?
I guess it's like almost 2 years now.
Okay, so almost 2 years, and. You're also you do some writing stuff.
I published a book in college, and then because I thought I wanted to be a novelist, so I like before I realized like I really need attention and I need to be on a stage. Like before that, I thought I would like just write. So but like when I like did write a book and like I had to spend like months like editing it and like sitting in like a dark room just writing, I realized like I don't really like this actually that much, at least not this just like by itself. I write a lot of letters. That's what I've gotten really into that. And yeah, like especially like I did it before Corona, but like especially now, I'm just like, I hope this finds you well. And
okay, so your letters, are they handwritten?
Yes.
Really?
They are handwritten.
Calligraphy or not?
Not calligraphy. They're just like they'll just be like on notebook paper, about like my day or whatever. The other day I used notebook paper with reinforced holes, and like I would send it to my friend, and like at the reinforced holes I was just like, because you're worth it,
Oh.
And at some point I do want to get like the actual materials that like letter writers use, like some people have like melt wax and like put a seal on an envelope. I would love to do something like that. It's funny, I like writing stuff in like letters that wouldn't like I'll write like sometimes hyperlinks into letters. I'll be like, check out this YouTube video. And it just seems very like anachronistic. Like it doesn't seem like it should be in a letter. So
since you have all these writing abilities, what do you do on your day-to-day? Like what's your 9 to 5?
Okay, so I'm in law school right now. That's my day-to-day. That's kind of what I've been like focusing a lot on right now, is just trying to be like a decent law student. So yeah.
you get like your degree and she's like, she's a decent lawyer.
Yeah, no, I mean like that's the goal, right? Like I want to become a comedian and moonlight as a lawyer. Actually, like a lot of comedians like used to be lawyers or wanted like Dimitri Martin dropped out of law school. He was going to be a lawyer. So I feel like a lot of the same like skills and interests kind of go hand in hand.
You did some stuff with Mark Kendall's Crazy Sexy Cool.
Yes, I did. So yeah, so when I got into comedy, I didn't really hang out with the comics like at the beginning. I was very intimidated by like the Atlanta comedy scene. Like now that I've gotten to know them, like it's cool, but like at the beginning I was just like, I already have so much stage fright, like I can't, like I'm not gonna be able to like really do my best here. So when I started doing comedy, it was really like two places. It was the school talent show at college, and I would go to a lot of poetry things and variety open mics because the poets were really welcoming. And what I loved about going to like poetry open mics was like I never had to worry if I was the funniest one there. Like, we're not competing in like the same spheres, although there are a lot of really funny poets. But so I got to really know the poetry crowd really well, and then they would begin to book me on like variety shows that would have like poets, musicians, and comics. Yeah. And so Teresa Davis booked me on Dad's Garage show that had Mark Kendall on it, and so that's where I met Mark Kendall like originally. And then and then when I started doing like going to more comedy open mics and being more involved with like the like comedians specifically, I got to kind of know Mark through there.
I think it's time to get to our sponsors and then on to Mark Kendall next.
All right.
So much.
Thank you so much. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night.
You too.